Hello, everybody. Brian and Leslie Fatherees here with you again with the Unbreakable podcast. We're glad that you're with us and hanging out with us. If you were with us last week, we talked about that. Sorry.
Remembering your
Remember
why.
why. And if you remember, while we're doing that, I went to go a direction and she's like, no. That's not today. That's next week. So,
I
guess
gotta
what?
keep him on track. That's what I'm here for.
That is what she's here for. She is my barometer, my plumb line.
Yep.
She keeps me there. So today, we'll be talking about guarding against the status quo in your marriage. We're going to be talking about how to do that and what that means and where to go from there. So we're glad you're back with us. We're glad you're hanging out with us. And now that I'm back on track, we can do what my wife wants me to do. She loves me
This is
so.
not true. Anyway.
It is true.
He tells me to organize it, but then he doesn't always want to stay in the organization, so I kind of keep him kind of back on track. Anyway.
Yeah, she's great.
We really, really want everyone to enjoy their marriage.
Yep.
We do not want you to have a status quo kind of marriage, because that's boring. And because usually ends up in a divorce if you go that direction, and we don't want you to do that. So we're really advocates for good, happy, enjoyable, committed marriage, because it really has great rewards when you do it right. When you really work at your marriage. I know people think that if it's a good marriage, it just comes natural, but that's not true. You got to work at it.
It is.
Everybody has to work at it, because we're all human.
Yeah.
And humans have flaws, and darn, you got to work around them and get through them and get better at them and all that stuff. So, we really want everyone to have a good, solid marriage that they enjoy. Yeah. So we want to talk about some of the things that are against you having that kind of marriage. And those things we see as status quo kind of things. The world, whoever they are, like to say that there's something called a 7-year itch. So after 7 years of being married, then you just kind of want to try out somebody else or wander off or call it quits or whatever. And I don't think that has to be a thing. It's just where I'm coming from, but I don't think it has to be a thing.
It doesn't.
I think that we can be committed all the way through without having those places where we just want to go off and try somebody else out.
So where I think that is rooted in, and what that's rooted in, is, and I counsel young people all the time when they're getting married. I counsel older couples when they're getting married.
Yep.
But I always do marriage counseling when someone's getting married. And one of the things that I counsel them with and I share with them is that once you're married, and it's such a profound, get your notepad out, get your pen and paper out. This is profound, super deep. When you're married, you're no longer single.
Yep.
What? When you're married, you're no longer single.
And you have to act married. Not single.
Your mindset has to shift.
Yeah.
The 7-year itch is rooted in someone or someones. They could be both of the people in the relationship who haven't stopped being single-minded. Not in the biblical sense, but in the sense of being single and being an individual. Right. Because when I married Leslie, I quit being an individual. I know that's not popular teaching, but it's the truth. The Bible says we became one. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, we became one. One of the signs, outward signs of that, is the rings that we wear. Another sign of that is that she took on my name. So all those are signs of oneness, unity.
Right.
And I quit looking at other women looking for a spouse.
Yep.
Because guess what? I have one. I don't need 20 of them. I don't need much sister wives. I just need my wife to be my wife. That's all I need. And sometimes it's a challenge, because I remember when we were first married, and we live in a college town. There's 2 colleges we're a twin city, and there's 2 universities, one smaller, one larger, in our towns. And I was driving Leslie to work. She's doing some part-time work. And I was driving through this one particular campus, and it was, I can't remember if it was fall or spring. It didn't remember, one of the two.
Probably spring.
Probably. And as we're driving through, there are probably 300 girls laying out in barely nothing covering their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
We're newly married, right? So it probably was spring.
Yeah.
Because we got married in January. So it probably was spring of the year, our first year of marriage. And we're driving through there, and when I say I'm not looking for another spouse, absolutely true. But as a man, did I notice those women showing everything they had? Yes. Yes, I did. Totally did. And we got about a block past them. I looked at my wife and said, "Did you notice all the naked women?" She's like, mm-hmm. 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 Serious. Mm-hmm.
Not happy about it.
And I looked there and said, "I don't want them. I want you."
Yeah.
Reminding, go back to last week, the why, I want my wife. Right. I don't want them. The 7-year itch comes from a root of not stopping looking.
And I might say that he was reminding me that he only wanted me, but he's also reminding himself
absolutely
that he only wanted me.
Absolutely. Because
we both need to remember that that's where we're at.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're going to notice, especially you guys, you're going to notice. You are. Ladies, I think the way the culture's put together now, they notice more than they ever did.
Yeah.
Because that's what's promoted to you.
Mm-hmm.
You notice when, the guy's a superstar, super hunk, whatever, blah, blah, blah. He's got the 85-pack abs and, all the things that they have, they have ripple about ripple.
Yeah, all those.
It's all spray painted. But anyway, I don't know. But anyway, they have all that going on. You have to remember you're married.
Mm-hmm.
To break that 7-year itch potential,
mm-hmm.
you have to remember, oh yeah, I'm married. Oh, I'm married.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, pull out my phone, picture of my wife. I'm married. Yes. And do you notice? Sure. But it's what you do when you notice, how you handle that.
Yeah.
David in the Bible did not get in trouble when he saw Bathsheba out bathing.
Mm-mm.
When he first saw her.
Nope.
He got in trouble when he took a second look.
That's right.
That's when he got in trouble.
Yep.
The reality is he got in trouble because he didn't go out to war when the king was supposed to be out warring. But when he saw her, that's not what caused him his problem. It's the second look. Yeah. That look of, maybe I could. And the king, he can have her wherever he wants. And so he said,
he didn't stop the thought.
He didn't stop the thought.
Yeah.
And you have to. That will help you with
mm-hmm.
the 7-year itch. Next thing.
Sometimes people get in a rut in their marriage and they just kind of feel like there's no excitement. No excitement. It's just a day in, day out. Yeah. We're going to work. We're coming home. We eat dinner. We watch TV. There's this rut thing that happens where in one sense you can be comfortable with each other, and that's okay because you should eventually be very comfortable with each other because you are together all the time.
Yeah.
But when there's no excitement, that also tends to, or what we think is excitement. I think that's
good.
Yeah. It's not that there isn't excitement. It's that we're not viewing it as excitement. It's not how we're looking at it. I think we see a theme here of mindset.
Yeah.
So it is easy to fall into that rhythm of we're just doing the same thing week in, week out, year in, year out, and it becomes just kind of what we do, and there's that lackadaisical kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
But we talked about last week, and I'm going to say it again, marriage is work.
Mm-hmm.
It's work to keep yourself in line, to keep your marriage together, to enjoy the times that you need to enjoy together. It's work.
Yeah.
You have to remember to keep your mind engaged in the process and your body engaged in the process. And so there should always be goals and things that you're dreaming about and that kind of thing in your marriage.
Absolutely.
Because that helps the excitement level to be up here rather than way down low.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And again, going back to what I was talking about with the 7-year itch and with the excitement thing, movies, culture, TV, social media, they all try to tell you what excitement looks like.
Right.
In your marriage.
Yep.
I was just thinking, she was talking, when I walk in the room and she walks in the room and gives me that look, There's no soundtrack.
Nope.
There's no chicka chicka bum 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 bum. Oh, I know what we're gonna do here.
Nope.
Oh, there's no dun 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 dun. Oh, I'm a dead man. None of that plays.
No soundtrack. You're
There's
right.
no soundtrack
Nope.
in life because it's just not designed that way. But we've been trained through entertainment, through media, through whatever we listen to, whatever we've been putting in ourselves, that we're looking for that. We're looking for that chicka chicka bum bum moment.
Yeah.
That moment. We're looking for the moment when that happens. You know.
So in that sense,
go ahead.
I think that one of the things that we do is we don't spend an inordinate amount of time watching a lot of things that have sexual moments in them or scenes in them. We don't spend time watching and listening to things that are going to hype up marital things to us. What we do is we try to enjoy each other. We're looking at sharing things together. So we will pull up things to read together. We'll pull up things that we're looking at. We get on social media, but we try to find the positive things in social media. We try to highlight the things to each other that are positive. Someone who has been married for a really long time, or someone who's
that exciting.
Yeah, that's really exciting to us. And so we're not looking for the rush of entertainment to keep the excitement in our marriage.
You know what excites me? When I see a video or a picture or a story about some 80 plus, 90 plus year old couple, walking through the park still holding hands.
Yes.
That excites me.
Yep.
Because I want to do that with Leslie.
Yep.
I want to have that with her.
Yes.
People make fun of us all the time. Like, you guys always kiss me, come and go. Right?
Yep. We do.
Or if I leave the room, she leaves the room, there's a kiss happening.
Yep.
Potentially a hug and a kiss. But always at least a kiss. And then I love you. And I love you. We tell each other I love you
all day long.
All day long, countless times.
Yep.
It's just something that we
not
do.
In the way that it's like just
like
we try to make it meaningful every time.
Yeah.
Because we're not trying to just make it a habit.
Right.
But we're trying to make it something that is keeping us connected and keeping us thoughtful of one another, mindful of one another.
But it's also not entertainment. It's like, baby, that's not what's going on. It's just, it's a recommitment every time.
Yeah,
of
sincerely
our
from our hearts.
We hold hands all the time.
Yeah.
We show public displays of affection, not inappropriate PDA, but we show public displays of affection.
Yeah.
And when we're at home, we show inappropriate public displays of affection because we're in our own home. And it's okay. Because it's not inappropriate at that point.
Right.
But in public, I got my arm around her. I might rub her back. I mean,
we're definitely holding hands.
We're holding right now as I'm doing the podcast. I got my hand down on her leg right now. She just patted my hand like, you're such a good boy. And so I got my hand down on her leg. Now I'm not rubbing anything or grabbing anything, but I'm doing PDA and you don't even know it. So we're connecting.
But we're connecting
all the time.
Yeah.
It's what we do. So the excitement is in the connection.
Yes.
Now I'm going to tell you that sometimes the connection isn't exciting. It's routine, but it still builds up to the excitement that you want.
Right.
I'm thinking, I don't remember the name of the movie, but they're like, and then he put his hand in mine, and they melted it together, and it was magic. Oh, doesn't happen. In real life, that does not happen. That's movie baloney.
Yeah.
Now, I hold my wife's hand all the time. I'll hold her hand. I hold it till she's like, okay, you need to let go. It's hurting my hand. Let it go. Like,
my hand's asleep usually.
Yeah, it's like, yes, ma'am, I'll let that go. And like, because I'm holding and I'm not paying attention. I'm just holding her hand, and then I start squeezing, and she's like, that hurts. Like, oh, it's like, okay, sorry.
Know your own strength. That's what I tell them.
Well, there's that. So you have to break the rut, and you have to build your own excitement.
Yeah.
And you have to build what excites you with your spouse. Whatever that may be for you, that's what you have to do. For us, it's the kiss, it's the I love you, it's the holding hands. It's I open the door for her when we come and go. Yeah. I open the door of the car. Yeah. She'll stand there and wait.
we work on him being a gentleman and me allowing him to be a gentleman, because we think that's a good display of our affection to one another also. So
yeah. All right, enough about the rut and excitement. The next thought we have written down here is, one of the things that works against status quo in marriage is you get so caught up in your children that you forget each other.
Yeah.
We see it all the time. We see it all the time. It's all about the kids, and we forget to work on our relationship.
There are people who really think that they can spend 20 years paying attention to all their children
and ignore each other.
Maybe 25 years, all and really not do a lot with their marriage because they're so focused on their kids. We're going to put everything we can into our kids, which is noble and honorable, and you should take care of your children, and you should do everything that you can to help them in this life, and to give them a good life. That's wonderful, but not to the detriment of your marriage.
Right.
And what people do is they focus so much on the kids, they never do anything for their marriage in that whole 25-year time. And then they say, well, when our kids are grown, then we'll work on us.
It doesn't work that way.
By then you don't even know each other.
Right.
And you don't know how to interact with each other.
It's called empty nest syndrome.
Yeah, because
it happens all the time.
You've grown, both of you have grown, because you can't help but grow in life and change in life. And then you don't know who each other are. And
right.
That's not the way to have marriage either.
Yeah, one of the reasons that Leslie and I are still married after 33 years is the fact that I've made her a priority. I made her a priority from day one. From before we had children and when we had children.
Mm-hmm.
And you can ask my children.
Yeah.
We'll do something on that sometime with our kids. My children would come to me when they were little. Hey, Daddy, can I get X amount of dollars for whatever? Mm-hmm. And back then it was so tight that I may not be able to do that. Yeah. I'm like, well, here's the thing. If it comes down to me giving you money or giving your mom money, guess who's getting it? Mom. It ain't fair. Said, well, here's the thing. And that's all my kids. Everyone heard the speech. They can do it better than I can. I'm like, girls, someday you're going to come home. And you are going to come home and you're going to have stars shooting out of your eyes. Mm-hmm. And you're going, Daddy, he's the one. I love him so. You're leaving me. And and you should. You absolutely should.
And we want you to.
Yeah. She's stuck with me. She's going to be there when you're gone.
Yeah.
So she's my priority. You're my next priority, but she's number one. Oh. Now, that does a couple things. It keeps us not being caught up in the children.
Right.
That is modeling to them how they're to be when they get older mm-hmm. and they get married.
Yeah.
It reaffirms our love for each other mm-hmm. and our love for our children. Right. And it places everything in its proper place.
Right.
So, you want to guard against the status quo. And we are, we're pushing the age that we're going to be empty nesting pretty soon, because all our children can leave in any moment. They're all old enough. They're out of school.
Pretty much going to do it at the same moment,
whenever, they can go whenever they want to go. Yeah. I've got a couple that aren't leaving until they get married. I've got, they're not going to go yet, but they could. They could walk in any moment and say, we're moving out. And that's okay with me, but we're going to be together.
Yeah.
And we're going to stay together, even if there's not the noise and the volume and the level mm-hmm. that's normally here in our home mm-hmm. with all the children around. Mm-hmm. We love that.
Yeah.
But if that disappears, we're still going to be okay with that. Right?
Yep. Absolutely. And we wanted to share a couple of scriptures with you.
We do.
As we're talking about just fighting against the status quo. This is one that is included in our Unbreakable philosophy.
Yeah.
We talk about Ephesians 5 a lot. And this is the last verse of Ephesians 5, verse 33. And I just want to read it in the Amplified because it's giving me a lot of words to jump off on. It says, however, let each man of you, without exception, love his wife as being in a sense his very own self. So men, when you're trying to keep your marriage from being, or guard your marriage from being a status quo marriage, one of the things you can do is love your wife. Now, loving your wife comes in a lot of forms.
Yeah.
You protect and take care of her. That's a way of loving her. You might make sure that you spend time with her. You might bring her a gift once in a while. Depends on how she loves and receives love.
Yeah.
But you should know your wife enough to know what's going to speak love to her. I'm always happy if Brian is picking things up in the house or he never offers to do the dishes, but if he offers to do something else for the household, then that makes me happy that he's thought ahead and he's trying to do something as an act of service towards me.
Yeah.
But if he loves me, he will show love to me. And so everybody loves themselves enough to take care of themselves most of the time, unless there's something wrong. But that's how you're supposed to love your wife, is to just how can you go out of your way to do something that will bless her and show love to her. That's positive affirmation for how you feel about her. That's what you need to do. That's a way to keep your marriage out of status quo. If you're just always looking for a way to love her. Maybe she likes concerts. Maybe she likes to go to the park. Maybe she likes to go places you don't want to go, like the mall or to shop. Brian, I have to say, he's not a fan of shopping necessarily, but when he goes with me, he enjoys shopping because we're spending time together. And he will shop with me for things that, our kids or grandkids need. And he's very happy to do that, enjoys doing that because he's loving me when he does that. Right. He knows that speaks something to me.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Men, you need to spend your lifetime studying your wife. I study Leslie. Yeah. I study her. I've been studying her from the moment we got engaged. Mm-hmm. And so I'm learning about her constantly. I learn what she likes. I learn how she feels. I learn how she thinks. I learn all these things about her. Yeah. I learn even on the intimate side. I learn how she likes to be touched, how she likes to be talked to, how she likes to be treated. I'm learning all those things. I am getting my PhD in Leslie Fatherees. And I'm not there yet. I've got my master's, but I don't have my PhD. I'm close. And you think after 33 years I'd be there. I'm not. I'm still learning. I'm still observing. I'm still watching. That's part of giving your life to love your spouse, is you give up your time, your thoughts, your ways, your thing, and you learn how they operate, so that you can be a blessing to them every single day of their life. Yeah,
that's good. That's really good. I like that.
Of course you do.
Of course I do. Verse 33 goes on to talk about, let the wife see that she respects and reverences her husband. And then it says in parentheses, it says she notices him, she regards him, she honors him, prefers him. So she prefers him over her girlfriends. She prefers him over her show she likes to watch on TV. She prefers him over the children. She prefers him. She venerates and esteems
him.
She's
meddling.
And she defers to him and praises him, loves and admires him exceedingly. So that is like a whole lot of things that a woman can do to guard against her marriage becoming a status quo marriage. Pay attention to your husband. Pay attention to his needs and to what he wants. And it's not all about me. And Brian would tell you, it's not all about me. He says the same thing. It's not all about being selfish. In marriage, you have to be selfless.
Yeah.
And you're looking to the other person and you're wanting to see what they would enjoy, what would make them happy, what would give them a surprise for that night.
Right.
A lot of times when the children were young, Brian would come home from work because he worked a secular job and he youth pastored. And so when he came home from his secular job, sometimes it was what I had thought about all day long and planned for him and surprised him with when he came home that spoke love to him. And he felt like he was honored and he felt like we had thought of him and made room for him in the house. Even though he wasn't there all day, he came home to it and we could surprise him. And so spend your time thinking of ways that you can do that for your spouse, that you can love them in tangible ways, you can honor them in tangible ways, and when you do that, your marriage is not going to be status quo. you're going to have excitement in your marriage because you're thinking about the other person, because you're encouraging them and you're lifting them up and you're building them up, and you defer to them when you want to do something but they really want something else. Okay, let's do it your way this time. Sometimes that's a hard thing for somebody to do, but you have to learn to defer to that person. Let them have their way or their desire sometimes when you want something else. It's not that you're not getting anything. It's that you're loving that person and honoring that person.
It's good.
Okay. It's good. He says, yay.
That's good.
Another scripture that we looked up, and this is in the Passion Translation. It says in Proverbs 5:18 that your sex life will be blessed.
What?
As you take joy and pleasure in the wife of your youth.
Yes.
So, find some joy. Find some pleasure.
I'm feeling joyous right now.
It can be in the sexual side, but it can also be in the other things of life that will add to your sexual life when you've already learned about, taken time with, blessed, done all those things that we've already talked about. It adds into your intimate life when you've done those things. It's not just a jump in, jump out kind of thing. You can just be, building each other up and blessing one another, and then that increases your time together intimately.
Absolutely. Well, folks, that's it for the Unbreakable podcast, because I got to go right now. No, just teasing.
He does that because I'm not the one who usually talks a lot on this topic, but it's okay. He can do it. He can add in. It'll be okay.
No, it's okay. She's right. We enjoy our times of intimacy. We enjoy sex together. I remember we were senior pastoring of a church 10 plus years ago, and we're having a meeting. We did Wednesday afternoons with our leadership. We would do meeting with them and have a Bible study, talk about a biblical topic, and then we would talk about church business, and then we would have a meal together. One of our favorite things to do. And this one particular day, someone said something about, it was one of the younger people we were raising up to become leaders. And they said something about not really, sex wasn't like a thing for them. And my 70-plus-year-old care pastor's wife looked over and goes, "What?" Because if you ain't having fun, you're doing it wrong. And I'm like, all right. Okay. And I just let her take over. And I'm like, go ahead. Because she was like the grandma to the church. And they're looking at her like, "Grandma? Don't talk about sex." And she shared, not details, she wasn't pornographic, but she talked about, "I'm telling you what, we're still having fun." And I'm like, go ahead. You let them know. And so it should be fun, and it should be a blessed time. It should be something that you enjoy together, and it's not a one-sided affair. It's not just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. She didn't say it that way. I'm saying it that way. It's not that where you come in and you just get your needs satisfied. She can get her needs satisfied. It's a mutual blessing. It's a mutual time of pleasure. It's a mutual time of connection. It's a mutual time of intimacy. It's a mutual time. Matter of fact, my goal every time we come together to be intimate is to make sure that my wife gets everything she wants, everything she needs, and is satisfied and fulfilled and pleased with whatever it is that we do. I want her to do that. Now, I know this, that if I do that, she's going to do the same thing right back to me. She's going to make sure that I get everything I need, everything I want, everything it's a continuum that works together. But if like she said, it's selflessness. But the moment you enter selfishness into it, boom, that continuum stops. And it becomes more difficult. So, be blessed as you take joy and pleasure in the wife of your youth. And wife of your youth, if you're listening to us, let him. Let him. The scripture talks very clearly in the New Testament that if you tell him no on a regular basis without good reason, you're sinning. You're out of line. You're not being the biblical wife you're supposed to be. It's okay to say no. There's a time to say no. And none of us men like that. None of us. But it's okay. But it shouldn't be every time.
Right.
That should be, and it should be with consent with each other. There should be a conversation that goes with that now as to why that's not going to happen that night. Because God wants your husband to enjoy you and take pleasure in you. And he wants you to let him and take pleasure in it as well. It's a great scripture to end up the status quo, because most marriages break up for one of two reasons.
Yes.
It's one is the sex life isn't good, and two, the money isn't good.
Yep.
Those are the two top reasons. And then, and actually below that is abuse, domestic abuse. Those are the top three reasons. And abuse is actually people will put up more abuse than they will less sex. That's crazy. But those are the top three reasons for people to have a divorce. So take pleasure in each other, enjoy one another. Don't have a status quo marriage.
Right.
You want to finish this up?
I think we did good.
We did good.
Yeah.
She said we did good. So with that said, we love you. We're praying for you. We believe that God's going to bless your marriage. If you have an average marriage, He's going to make it a good marriage. You have a good marriage, He's going to make you a better marriage. You have a better marriage, He's going to make it a great marriage. We are believing for God to bless you. And just take what we're sharing this month of June and go apply it to your life.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
I'm getting off now, so you can go have fun. All right? Go enjoy yourselves. Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.